Hello. Welcome to Unexplained Realms. We have Amy Robeson, an Akashic Records Master. Take it away, Amy. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to chat with you
Yes.
today.
Um, I think I get a lot of questions from people like, what are Akashic records and how do I activate my DNA with them? And I'm not a master. I don't know. So I brought you on to help everyone out. So give us a little history on how did you get into this? Where did they come from?
Yeah. So first, let's define what the Akashic records are, just so if anybody's listening doesn't know what they are, they know what we're talking about. So the Akashic records is a field of infinite possibilities. Every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akashic field. Everyone and everything in existence and has ever existed has an Akashic records. The earth has an Akashic records. You have an Akashic record. Your dog has an Akashic record. Everything and everyone and everything that's ever existed has an Akashic records. And so what we can do is we can go into the records and ask for love and guidance and support in any and all areas of our life. And so it's like an autobiography of your soul. And the guardians who support us and give us love and guidance are there to assist us in having different perspectives around any given situation or anything that we're wanting support with. And so the thing that I love about the records is it's a manifesting tool, it's a life tool, but most importantly, it's a tool that assists you in evolving. And that's the most important thing of it all is it assists you in evolving. And I discovered the Akashic records when I was going through a time where I was deeply involved in spiritual work. Like I wanted to know everything and anything that my heart was guiding me towards. And one of my teachers at the time mentioned the Akashic records, and my heart like lit up. I was like, that sounds so familiar. Like, I don't know what that is, but like my heart knows what it is. And then, my first teacher that I learned how to meditate and learned how to do chakra balancing and mediumship and all that stuff. She had similar channeling abilities as Edgar Casey. And if anybody doesn't know who Edgar Casey is one of the most well documented psychics, which he used the Akashic records. And he didn't actually believe in this type of stuff, but he had the foresight to document everything because he would go into these deep trances and he used the Akashic records, even though it was different than what his religious beliefs were, which was really amazing that he dug deeper and discovered these things, which is really neat.
I wish more people could do just that, where you may have your own religious beliefs, but you can separate it and open your mind more. I think that the world would be a better place if we could all do that.
I think, my big thing and big thing that I teach is stay curious
Mhm.
because the more curious you are about something or anything, it allows you to open up to different perspectives. And that's what the guardians do in the records is you can have tunnel vision around anything that you want to have tunnel vision around or unknowingly have tunnel vision around. And what the guardians do is they open you up to a 360-degree perspective around any given situation, around any given topic. Because when we have tunnel vision, we don't see what else is available, or we don't consider what that person may be going through or what that company may be doing or things like that, where it might shift our perspective around the given situation. I remember I found out that my stepfather passed away and I wasn't told about it, and I remember being so upset. And um the one piece of advice that I remember getting from the guardians of the Akashic records is that sometimes family doesn't think about the whole perspective, and they're thinking about that particular situation only in that particular moment and not considering the impact or the aftermath of that decision. And that instantly made me feel better because when you're not given the opportunity to mourn or say goodbye or have closure, it's very big impact. And so the there's so many things that I love about the Akashic Records in terms of that unfolding of new alternative perspectives that we didn't have before, because it allows you to have more compassion, deeper empathy, a different level of forgiveness, a different level of tolerance. And it's not tolerance for abuse, but it's a tolerance of moving into acceptance of where you are in that situation, and then having tolerance for certain behaviors and actions that you can't control at that moment in time.
Interesting that you say, when even when family members or it's basically anybody, they're in that moment, they're not thinking what how do I say this? I teach my own children to think globally. Every move you make will affect something or someone else. So consider that. Don't just kind of look, it's just all about me. So
It's good.
I yeah, I think that more people should understand the Akashic records, how to embrace them. So that would be my next question. How would one, just a normal person, tap into this?
Yeah, so I teach people how to open their records for themselves and for other people. I teach that using crystalline energy. I want something to be easy, fast, and simple. Our attention spans are like squirrels. Like, we just don't have long attention spans anymore just because of social media and other reasons. And so we need something fast and simple. And so I teach my students how to open their records for themselves and for others using a simple prayer and using crystalline energy. And you can get in your records within less than a few minutes once you're get familiar with the method and you get more grounded into your heart space as well. And then once you learn how to do that, things start to massively change really, really quickly in the matter of months for people. And it's really fun to see. And I teach this in my program called Sacred Awakening.
Right. I will have links to all your social media, your website
Yeah.
for anyone that is interested in seeking her teaching. I might be one. I might do it. Um, don't like I noticed there, in just some of the stuff I've read and looking at your information, there was a difference between spirit guides and Akashic guides. And if
Mhm.
they're both do they both have the same purpose for us, or is that 2 separate things?
Uh, yes and no. So it just depends on what spirit guide you're talking about. So the guardians of the records, also known as the masters, teachers, and loved ones, uh, reach a certain vibration, a certain understanding where they get to be guardians inside of the your Akashic records. And there's an infinite number of guardians that can be in your records that can be supporting you on any given topic, on any given situation. And so some spirit guides that someone might have might be a guardian of the records, and they might not be a guardian of the records. Doesn't mean they're not high vibrational. It just might mean that they're not a part of that collective group that supports that team member, that soul, or that being in that particular way, but they support in a different way. And that's okay too.
That makes sense. What about animals? Are animals part of, like, the Akashic record guides, or are they just simply spirit guides?
It depends, because some animals were human at some point in time and some weren't. So it just depends. And then animal spirit guides are so beautiful and unique. They don't have to come through the Akashic records in order to support you. Animal spirit guides are always supporting us in different ways, um in different capacities. And so some might come through the records and some may not. But most animal spirit guides don't have to come through the records. But the guardians might suggest, like, hey, this animal spirit guide wants to work with you, or hey, your uh, dog that passed away wants to be called in to support you with this particular thing, or they might use that particular animal that passed away as an analogy for something to learn or to understand or to experience as well.
So, current people, like if someone you know now in this time era, 2024, passed away, would we be assigned to like a guardian as Akashic Records, or is that just kind of ancient guides that are already assigned?
Say that one more time.
Like, so if I passed away tomorrow, could I ever be a guardian of an Akashic record, or is that something that's just already set in stone from ancient times?
Oh, I love this. Some people have been guardians in the past and they chose to come back into this human experience to support our evolution. Is it possible to transition and go right into guardianship? I think you have to go through, from my understanding, is you have to go through a review first, and then you go through different levels of consciousness. And then when you're ready to go into that realm to support, absolutely. Just depends on what you did in this lifetime and where you're going next and what decisions you choose to make after you do your review.
I wonder if that were to happen and then you chose to come back into the human experience, would you have a better insight? Like, there's a lot of people that are more intelligent or just have more knowledge or spiritual knowledge. Could that be because they were a guardian and then they came back with more, I don't know, knowledge?
I mean, that's a possibility. Also, a possibility is that that particular soul has had so many lifetimes of experiences. I'm talking thousands of lifetimes of experiences, and so they're able to more easily tap into and remember things versus a newer soul. But that doesn't mean a newer soul doesn't have experiences that they can't tap into really quickly. So it just depends, and it depends on um, the person's curiosity and their background and how they're choosing to react and what they're choosing to study and experience and to look at and things like that. And so I think everything is possible. So it just depends on the person and what they're doing.
Mhm. So another, I just have so many questions. I'm so intrigued. It's not something I've ever really dived too far into, but I read something on your website about light codes. What are
Yeah.
light codes?
So, I teach light language. Light
Mhm.
language is the cosmic language of your soul, and everyone can speak or use the different forms of light language. And there's different forms of light language. One is speaking or toning. Another one is movement, signing, and symbols. And so there's all different forms that we can use. And what it does is it moves past the conscious mind into the subconscious mind and breaks us out of trances. And sometimes there are no human words that can encapsulate or describe what is wanting to be shared through us with spirit. And so light codes help break up what is in trance, because we go into trance all the time. We can be watching a YouTube video, or we can be watching something on social media, or we can be watching something on TV or whatever, and we can go into a trance where, and same thing with reading a book, like we go into a trance and we go into all sorts of different trances throughout our life that's not just screen related, that makes us believe that we are in a particular vibration or particular consciousness. And so when I was being guided to start speaking light language, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like the guardians are like, yeah, like you're in complete alignment with it. I'm like, no, like I'm already weird enough. Like I don't want to do that. And so um I ended up starting to channel it. And once I started channeling it, I was like, wait a second. I used to do this with my sister. We used to speak in this language with each other when we were kids. We would totally understand what each other would
Wow.
be. And so that's the thing about spirituality and tools and practices is, once I started diving into the records, I realized that I've been using the records my whole life in this lifetime, and I've used them many lifetimes. And so, same thing with light language, and same thing with intuition, and same thing with different abilities. We all have different abilities, just sometimes they end up getting shut off or turned way down so that we can keep ourselves safe and we can fit in and conform to what the societal norm is. And a lot of times people don't want to hear that you're seeing things or experiencing things. And now that we're in this different space and time where we get to communicate in platforms like this, where we can have conversations and we can build community, it's such a beautiful thing because we can normalize the strange. We can normalize the weird. We can normalize the unexplained. And it's so amazing that we can do that. And I am always grateful for when I get the opportunity to dive deeper into a practice to discover something new about myself, because this is what we're here to do. Or it's all about self-discovery.
I wish more people believed that, and, you're right, social media is it can be really bad and dangerous, but it's also a really great tool. I mean, I guess if we didn't have this reach, you wouldn't be able to touch as many people or spread the knowledge or the skills that you have if we didn't have the internet, so
Exactly. And I think that it's really important to protect yourself from what you consume. So, what are you consuming and does it serve your highest good? Because if you're consuming things that stress you out, that don't uplift you, that keep you from experiencing your best life, it's time to delete, unsubscribe, hide those things from your feed so you can change and create a new algorithm for yourself. In worst case scenario, just start fresh. Just start fresh, start over.
mm.
And it sounds hard at first, but sometimes it's necessary to see what you can experience differently to get out of some of those echo chambers.
Do you think unlocking all of this and, finding your divine path will help you be more successful in everything, not just, maybe your job, but in your health and in your mindset? Is it just what does it really do for you when you find this way or when you unlock these records?
I love the records because it's a life tool. So it's not just here, this is a tool to um, only look at your spirituality. No, like I have a hard time communicating, or I might have a trauma response around something, or I might want to look at my money stories, or health. For me, health, I use the records a lot for health. Like health is a big one for me, especially since I have autoimmune things, and my family has a lot of autoimmune things. And so, understanding my health and what I can do in order to get out of certain um, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical cycles that may be keeping me stuck in a particular vibration is really helpful with the records. The records have helped me find different doctors. They have helped me find different therapies and solutions that have been really, really helpful. And I also find that the more that I play in the records, the more my intuition grows. And so when I'm outside of the records, I'm getting lots of intuitive hits on like, yes, that's in alignment. Do I want to dig deeper in that? Absolutely. Then I can go into the records and dig deeper into it. And it's just a really cool thing to experience. So yes, it can help you. It's all about balance, because part of the human experience is finding fulfillment in all areas of your life, not just one. So if I only focused on spirituality and I didn't give myself permission to focus also on family and romance and money and spirit and fun and leisure and career slash business, health, all of those things it's a absolute importance to find balance in and to find fulfillment in. Because if you're not fulfilled in one or more of those areas, you're going to have a hard time, and something's going to try to get your attention to start fulfilling them, and you can use the records to do that.
Right. I noticed that you also have a podcast.
Yeah,
Just tell us about that. Like, do you do just listeners' questions? What goes on your podcast
I
for the
do.
listeners so that they can go jump on it?
Yeah, so my podcast is Awakening with Amy Robeson. And we are on YouTube as well. Plus, we stream on all the podcast platforms. And on YouTube, it's Amy Robeson, and it's Robeson. And what we do is, and I say we because I have a team. Like, I'm so grateful for my team because I'm not techie. I don't know how to do half the things I do. So, um, we do one recorded episode a week, so that airs every Monday. And sometimes I'll do interviews, but most of the time it's just me talking about whatever spiritual topic or topic at hand that's wanting to be brought to the surface. And then I do one or two interviews a month, and then we have one live episode a week as well that we air on YouTube, and then we upload it to all the streaming platforms as well. And so I'll take like ask me anything questions on the lives, or we'll do some sort of healings or some sort of activation, meditation, visualization. I'll do Akashic record group readings on there. It's a lot of fun, but I'll channel a lot of things as well. And then we'll do things from anything from like how to prepare for the Lionsgate portal. And we're getting ready to do a Friday the 13th moon goddess healing because Friday the 13th is an amazing, powerful holiday, uh,
Yes.
powerful vortex that we
Mhm.
can be in to celebrate the moon cycles. And so it's all about spirituality and living your best life. And what does awakening look like for you, and how you can continue your awakening process. It doesn't matter if you've been in your awakening process for you just started it or if you've been in it for 20 years. We are constantly awakening to new things, and we don't go through one awakening, we go through many throughout our lifetime.
What do those look like? Do they become like chaotic times when you're going through that awakening, or is it peaceful and loving, or
Oh, it's
um,
not, definitely not peaceful and loving. Because when you are awakening, you're awakening to a new truth. You are awakening to a new truth of what, of your soul, of your being. And what happens is you're starting to see false truths. And so there can be an identity crisis when that happens. And the most important thing is to remember that the only way to go through this is to literally go through it and not resist it. Because when we are in the dark night of the soul, or when we're in the awakening process, you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel confused. You're going to feel depressed, possibly. And it just depends on the person and what their next level is in their awakening. And most importantly, I think it's important to find tools, community, and support systems that support you in moving through that cycle and getting out to the other end. And it's okay not to rush the cycle either. I think that some people really want it to be butterflies, roses, and rainbows, but it's really not. Like when you are having a deathing of old identities, it is gut wrenching sometimes to say goodbye to these old parts of yourself that got you here to this moment in time, that kept you safe, but they are no longer necessarily able to keep you safe anymore because they're a detriment to your soul's evolution. So you have to lovingly let them die, but that is painful sometimes. And I think that that can sometimes also be really confusing because you're like, I know this new truth, but there's a part of me that doesn't want to believe it, but you know too much to turn around and go back the other way. It's impossible.
that reminds me, kind of like the description of like the twin flame journey or whatnot, where you might be in one space or one awakening and the other person is just not there yet. They're just,
Mhm.
you know, and I think that that goes to it goes along with friendships as well. Like sometimes they're in one space and you're in another and you're not communicating. And even though you don't want to let go, you have to because they can't catch up. They refuse to catch up. They haven't evolved. So
Yeah, you've outgrown them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's the most painful thing ever, but, do you think they'll ever if you have to leave a friendship like that or a situation like that, do you think that it ever comes back around that they possibly could evolve to that to the same level as you at one
I
point?
I think so, because 'cause I've had friends when I started this journey that were very upset with me, and I know what my truth was, and your truth doesn't have to match my truth for us to be friends. And if you don't want to support me in where I'm going, that's okay too. Um, but I don't have to explain myself in a way that um, dishonors what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is true for me, and that's okay. And I've had friends that have told me, like, what you're doing is bad and what you're doing is inappropriate. And years later, they come around and apologize because they have a different understanding. And I just, when stuff like that happens, I just, okay, that's where they're at, and that's okay. And that's, if they're choosing to have tunnel vision, and if they feel that strongly, it's okay if we're not friends anymore. I know I've gone through different cycles where I've had to let go of relationships and friendships just based on, I know that it's not good for either one of us to be in relationship anymore, or that person, the relationship feels very lopsided. And the most freeing thing you can do in a situation like that is let that person go. And I know that sounds strange, especially when it's not a non-romantic relationship. That can be even harder when you're in a romantic relationship, but letting that person go, you free yourself up to be in community with people that are like-minded, that support you, that want to cheer you on, that love you. And I remember telling my husband, this was many years ago, I had a friend that was just, I discovered this person was talking about me behind my back, and like very nasty things. And I just told my husband, I'm like, okay, I think that this is a big sign that it's time to let this friendship go. And then I got really clear with the universe, God, creation, whatever title you give that sacred being, who I'm looking for and what I'm looking for in a friendship. And I kid you not, within less than 30 days, I had an amazing friend show up, and we're still friends to this day, and I absolutely adore her. And it was everything on my list that I said I wanted in a friend, and this person like checked all the boxes. And so know that if you do have some friends, not every friend you are meant to be with and be in a relationship for the rest of your life. It's some are very long chapter friends, and some are very short chapter friends. And whatever it is, thank the universe, thank God for that experience, and thank them for that experience, and lovingly let them go if it doesn't assist you or them in evolving to the next level.
I get what you mean. I totally understand that. I lost, a dear friendship, and we just I evolved, that person didn't. Um, but you're right. I threw out into the universe that I just want this and this and this in a friendship. And excuse me, I was presented with my current team here, my outreach guys. They're always supportive. They're amazing. I'm shouting you guys out. um, become quickly somehow just really good friends, and the universe just sometimes knows what you need. Like, I feel like it said, I get it. You're not being supported by your current friends or family. So I'm going to give you a few strangers and here you go. So I think there is always something out there looking. Maybe is it possible that we tap into our own Akashic records without even knowing it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was tapping into my Akashic records for a very, 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 very long time before I actually even discovered what they were. And so that's why that I was sharing earlier that there was this familiarity to it. And so some people do accidentally start tapping into their records, and it's really important to have direct, straight protocols to go into the records because we can blow out our energy and we can create energy imbalances. And so if you've never been taught and you think that you've been accidentally going into the records, you definitely want to learn a method. And whoever is that teaches you that, you want to make sure that that teacher or that method is in alignment with where you're wanting to go and how you want to use the records, because not everybody utilizes the records the same. Some people believe that the records are only for past life regressions. I love past life regressions. Past life regressions are my jam. However, I don't want to explore past lives every day. That would be hard. That would be boring to me because, one, that means I'm just constantly looking at something to fix. And you can only, and I'm putting this in quotations, fix so much, so many days in a row because you need to take a break from that. And so for me, the way I utilize the records is I utilize it for the past, the present, and the future. And so I might go into the past and heal something, or I might go into the past and discover a gift that I have. And then I might be like, hey, I'm having a hard time communicating with my husband. How do you suggest I handle this situation? Or, hey, I'm getting ready for this big launch in my business. Like, how can I energetically prepare? Or, hey, this is not going as I planned. Let's say health wise, like, what are some steps that I can take to assist me in getting more grounded and rooted in my body and feeling less stress? Whatever it is, like, I can work on the present and then I can also work on future. And the cool thing about the records is it's not fortune telling. With the records, everything that they share with you is from that exact moment in time and not anything beyond that. And so what I mean by that is you might go into the records and ask questions about future possibilities, and it's based on that exact moment in time. And if you ask that same question a week from now, the answer might change. It might not, just depends on what's happened, because there's an infinite possibilities of how things can change and how people, what support systems or what organizations or what people can support you with it. And those people might have changed their mind or done something different within that last week or so. And so we can use it for the past, the present, and the future. And I love that.
That's amazing. I also read you are pretty heavy into manifestation. So with that, when you teach people to manifest, do you ever get like success stories? Do they ever come back like, I manifested this because you taught me how? And do you ever see that?
Yes. So with Sacred Awakening, my Akashic Record program, we have people. So the program's 4 months long, and the neat part is if you do the work and you're just playing and going at it, everybody's life changes in a very short period of time. 4 months is not a very long time. And the amount of success stories we've had around people are like, I look completely different. I think completely different. My life is completely different. I'm showing up completely different. It's such a beautiful thing to witness. And I teach other things besides the Akashic Records. Like, we do DNA activations, we do light language and things like that. So it just depends on where people find me and how they find me. And so I've had people tell me about getting job promotions or finding love, like finding a lover and getting married and having children and manifesting like a promotion or a job that they've been really wanting. It's really neat, but most importantly, like, the mindset shift in the way you perceive yourself is probably the biggest thing that I see in terms of manifesting with my clients, is where they're just like, I don't feel the same at all. I feel like a completely different person for the better. And it's really neat to see and witness.
That's amazing. We talked about light code and then, the Akashic Records, manifestation, DNA activation though. What is it? Like, what is that and how does it work?
So we have trillions of cells in our body. Most of those cells have DNA in them. Most of the DNA lays dormant. Within our DNA, we have different gifts, abilities, coding that we can tap into that can support us in our evolution as well. And I like DNA activations because it folds time in a completely different way, where you're just receiving versus having to do a bunch of stuff. And the first time I got my DNA activated, my business blew up. Like, it was just completely different the way that I was downloading and receiving. I was like receiving different ancient technology, different like activations that I could do. I had different understanding of things. And so it's really neat. And then this uh, last year, I did a DNA activation. I do DNA activations twice a year, 2 different rounds through our DNA Awakening Accelerator. And last year, I did it. Every time I do it is something different. And a couple months later, my understanding of light language, and I've been teaching light language for quite some time, but my understanding of light language went to level 5,000. Like, it was like next level understanding of light language. So you never know what is going to be experienced when you receive the DNA activations. And we're getting ready to do another DNA activation series in January of 25. And I can't wait for it because there's all sorts of different new things. And every time I do them, like, something new comes up and something new is revealed on the DNA. And so with DNA activations, what we do is I work inside of everyone's Akashic records to activate 24 strands of DNA. And because you have trillions of cells of DNA, we don't just go sequentially where it's like, we're going to start at DNA strand number 1. First off, we just don't do that. Second off, it's whatever serves your highest good is what strands we're looking at, working on, and activating them. And we're removing different seals, and different seals were placed on the earth when our consciousness fell, where we used to be able to just go in and out of different levels of consciousness, stream without having to be embodied. And when our consciousness fell, a lot of souls got stuck and scattered and fractaled. And so when we do the DNA activations, what we're doing is we're removing these cells that keep you stuck, keep you in this reincarnation cycle. We're also removing seals that have death programming, or have like, I like to call it like the wrath of God programming, where there's like people that feel that God is here to punish them if they do something bad. And this is religious beliefs that you might not have ever grew up religious, but you just have this like bad feeling about something, and it's because it's programmed within our DNA. And some people don't experience, like, I didn't grow up in a religious household, so I never experienced that. But I have a ton of clients that they feel like they might be doing something wrong and that God might punish them, or whatever title they give that being. And so we remove these seals, and all sorts of fun things start to happen,
Wow.
and intuition starts increasing. And so I
Mm.
find I like different tools for different things, and they all couple well with one another.
That's, that I can totally imagine deprogramming from religion. I grew up in a very Catholic household,
Mhm.
and for very many years, I believe there was an angry old man in the sky that was gonna shoot you
Yes.
down, you know? It took a lot of work to bypass those beliefs and that belief, and just coming to where you are now. But how amazing that we have someone like you in the world that can assist people, because it was a struggle for myself. I actually would fail like philosophy classes in college because of that belief system. I couldn't get past it. My professors were like, "No, no, no, you have to look at it this way." And I'm like, "I can't." So, I think I took philosophy 101 4 times because
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't bypass the Catholic beliefs. And how can you talk about Greek gods? No way, there's only one God, not understanding. But I was raised that way from childhood, went through all the sacraments, so it it took minutes. I don't know. hours, days, years to kind of just get past that. Um, so
And
do
I'm sure
you
you're still unpacking it. I'm sure that
Oh,
there's
yeah.
things that come along and they just shock you, like, "Wait, I thought I looked at that,"
Mhm.
and all of a sudden
And
you're like, "Wait, that's coming up for me to take a look at it,"
mhm,
and it's it's a deprogramming that takes layers sometimes and
mhm,
years of unpacking it and peeling back the layers to get to the very, very end of it, but you will. It's
yeah.
always
And
beautiful
I'm
when
I'm not in any way for fans or listeners saying there's not a God or whatever you wanna call it. I do believe there's a higher power. There is something. Just don't find it to be what religion has described it to be. I just can't imagine. It's more of a fear when you look at it in the religion side. It's a
Well,
fear.
I think that if you and I agree, I think that organized religion is very confusing, and for me, what I like doing is I take what resonates and I leave behind the rest. There are things that I love about Hinduism. I think there are beautiful teachings in that. I think there's beautiful teachings in the Bible as well. But there are things that I'm like, that doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't resonate with that. And my soul didn't want to come into this lifetime with organized religion because I know that I was meant to be doing other things. And so I really appreciate because I have a lot of students that did come from Catholic backgrounds or other religious backgrounds that are they get confused, and it's a very normal thing to get confused. My thing is God, universe, creation, whatever sacred title you give that sacred frequency is here to support you and love you. And I don't want to play into this energy that God is here to punish me. And I've met people that I actually had a contractor of ours that told us, like, God's punishing me right now for taking your project. And I'm sorry if you mismanaged the project. But the other way of looking at it as you learned an extremely valuable lesson on the type of work you want to do, and God isn't punishing you. You just didn't make a calculated decision the proper way, and now you're upset with yourself about it. And you can choose to react and believe that God is punishing you, or you can choose to react and take a step back and go, what can I learn from this experience and how can I grow from it so that I won't make this mistake again? And I think that that's the most important thing because the universe does not want to punish you. But if you believe that the universe is going to punish you, you're going to get punished
Well, you're
because you're going to be on the
bringing
lookout for it.
yeah, you're making your own negativity, creating your own negativity. Um, Organized religion, I believe, is a coping mechanism for some people. It's easy because it's laid out there and it's instructional. Do this, and God won't punish you. So I think it's a coping tool for a lot of people. I think you can follow a religion, but also keep an open mind and maybe persevere through life without just single focused on the religion. I don't know. Do you do in-person, like, DNA activation, or is your classes are they only online?
Um, I do a lot of stuff online and mainly online. So, and the reason for that is like I was always guided that I was going to do stuff online. Now, I do in person events twice a year. We have like a big Akashic Record event, 3-day retreat, and then we have a bigger retreat, not a bigger retreat, an intimate retreat for a set number of people where we all stay in like a house or an Airbnb together and everybody gets coaching and things like that. And so we do in person and then we do that, those two events. And then I speak as well. And so, but mostly everything's online because I have people all around the world, which is neat and I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's I think it's easier too, and are your classes pre-recorded, so if someone were to come on and they didn't have time for a specific scheduled class, they could come on and rewatch it later
Yeah,
or
we always offer replays. Even
kind
when I because I offer a lot of stuff for
of
free, and so, when we do free events, I always offer replays because we have people that it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and it's 11 a.m. for me, whatever time it is.
Mhm.
So, no, we always offer the replays, and then if you're taking a course, it just depends on what course. Sometimes they're, live calls, and if you can't make the live call, you catch the replay, and then we have video lessons, or it's a self-study all the way around, so it just depends on what it is. But
Mm.
yes, everything's always available after the fact.
So you also, just so the fans know, you cross some of these things, like combining the Akashic records with crystal energy, um, for transformation is what I read. So you use 2 different what is it, like 2 different studies or 2 different
Yeah, so I have a different method of opening the Akashic records I mentioned earlier with the prayer using crystalline energy. We work with crystals in the course as well. Some people aren't into crystals when they enter the course. Some people are very into crystals. You don't have to be into crystals, but I give you a crystal kit in Sacred Awakening to open your records so you have something tangible when we're working with something abstract. And I like that because you don't need the crystals. Absolutely don't need the crystals, but I love crystals. I've grown up with crystals my whole life, and they're like little light beings that want to support us, and they hold keys to unlock your records for you the way that we do our Sacred Awakening method, and it's really fast and simple and easy. And then I teach like people how to work with crystals as well. We like do things with the crystals inside the course, but I have my own like separate course as well for crystals too. So just depends. But yes, I like combining. And then I also speak light language in all of our activations and in our Akashic Record course or other courses that I teach as well, just because everything couples well depending on what it is that we're doing. And so all my stuff usually overlaps in some way, shape, or form.
that's amazing. I know I keep just asking questions. I'm so
No,
intrigued,
you're
but,
good. These are great
ancestors
questions.
ancestors, I actually had a dream of my grandmother this weekend. She was telling me something like a warning. It was really strange.
Do you remember what
I
she was wearing?
she had a pink shirt on. That's what I do remember, but I could only see her from, like, her shoulders up. She was, like, right here, and it's even though she was right here, I could make out all the lines of her face, and it sounded like she was talking to me from 5 miles away, yelling.
Almost like an
I
echo
said,
or
"So"
something?
yeah, but like, "Why can't I hear you when you're in front of me? Like, what is going on?" But again, if this was really not a dream and she came to me, there's a divide somewhere, so you're not gonna hear very clearly, perhaps? I don't know. But it was a warning. I can't get into what it was, but I I woke up and I went, "Aha, I know exactly what she was trying to tell me." Um,
That's great. I'm glad that you
yeah,
understood it. Yeah.
I did, and, but it's very strange. Ancestors, though, I know in your website, there's a lot of ancestors, um, stuff on there. So what are your thoughts on that? Harnessing
So
ancestral power and stuff like that.
yeah, so the veil is getting thinner and thinner. And so, what the ancestors are doing is they're getting our attention. They want our attention. They want to share things with us. They want the lineage to change because they're on their side and they can see things from a different light and a different perspective. And the buck can stop with you. Like you can change your lineage just by doing the work. And so the ancestors, I went to an expo. I was speaking at an expo earlier this year, and I was doing an ancestor healing for one of my talks. And I called for the ancestors that wanted to come, and there was thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of ancestors. And so the ancestors themselves are here to support people. They are here to go, we want to support you. We want to assist in the change that is necessary in the lineage. And some of the people that are doing the work in the lineage feel like the black sheep of the family. They feel like the oddball out. They feel like they don't fit in. And so the ancestors know that you're the person, you're the key to this change. And they are trying to get our attentions in different ways. The veil is very thin, and so they can get our attention through sleep, they can get our attention through thoughts, they can get our attention through experiences. And one of the things that I love doing inside of the records is calling forward the ancestors that want to support us, that want to assist, and then we make the changes that are necessary for those changes as well. And it's really powerful, powerful work.
For normal people that are just kind of learning this, how would we know that our ancestors have come forward? Other than like what I see them in my dreams or whatever. Other than that, how would you know that they're there to assist you?
I think it's really important to use discernment. I think that with any tool, like it's important to use discernment and to trust. There's a different level of understanding and trust, and like you deeply trust that that was your grandma. And so I think that that's really important to have that understanding, and to pay attention to synchronicities and signs. Like there's so many signs that we get throughout the day from spirit, from our ancestors, from our guides. And so we are ultimately responsible for paying attention to those things.
That makes sense. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm gonna go troll around your website and see what I can sign up for because I'm very intrigued. I hope other fans will too. I think just what you're teaching, even if they don't take anything spiritual from it, maybe it could help with kindness and thinking a little more globally versus people just thinking about themselves these days.
I think there's so many things that we can do. The most important thing is follow the energy where your heart is leading you. Where your heart is leading you, it's leading you somewhere, so trust it. Follow the energy. When your heart says yes, do that thing. When your heart says no, trust. Also, just so you know, like I have, if you go to my website, it's theamyrobeson.com. So TheAmyRobeson.com. And then you can also do /free, and that will take you to, if we have like a special live going on for the podcast, or we also, you can sign up for our sacred gifts as well, which is 20 plus free healings. And so we have lots of healings on there, from money to manifesting to all sorts of different things. And so you can take advantage of those healings. We also have a grief healing on there. I know that sometimes there's lots of people that grieve in different way. I think grief is a part of the human experience, and so that's one of our popular ones. But and then also, you'll, once you sign up, you can get connected when the next time we do our free 10-day soul evolution masterclass series. It's an extravaganza. It's 10 days where we talk about the Akashic records. We do ancestral healings. We do Akashic record group readings. We do also soul lineage healing as well. There's so many different things that we do in that series, and it's absolutely free. It's 10 days. The next one that we'll be doing is in February of 25.
Wow. I have your website scrolling down at the bottom as well, so people can really grab that and go over there. Um, I think we're coming close to the hour mark. So, is there anything else you'd want to share with listeners, viewers?
Did you want me to do like a channel message at all?
Yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that. That'd be fun.
Um, how I usually like to do this on podcasts is I'll ask you what you're wanting support with, or what you're struggling with right now, and then I can usually take that, share a message for you, and then generalize the message for your listeners as well.
Hmm. I don't know. I think health right now is a huge one for me. So, yeah.
Okay, so what I got for you is mind your P's and Q's. So slow down, because you can't mind your P's and Q's if your mind is racing. And when your mind is racing, or you're moving too quickly through something, you're not able to see the obvious in front of you. Also, you have the tendency to look outside yourself versus within yourself. So for health, um, and this is from a spiritual perspective, they're wanting you to slow down and take time to go inward. And by doing that, what you're going to do is start to reorganize your nervous system and do a great reset. And the great reset is going to give you clarity on what your next steps are moving towards the support systems that can help you with your health. But they're saying, like, literally write on a post-it note, put it on your computer, put it on your bathroom. I'm going to mind my P's and Q's, because it's going to tell you to remind you to slow the thoughts down and get in your body and in your heart. And if anybody's listening to this and any part of that resonates with you, take that. Any part that doesn't, leave it behind. Do you have questions about what I just shared?
That makes a ton of sense. I was diagnosed with spinal stenosis a while back, and up until now, I'm a person that ran 4 million miles an hour, and my brain was always going. And all of a sudden, I have to stop. I have to slow down. I am forced to slow down. I'm physically in pain if I stand too long or I move too much. So that makes sense because I'm still trying to go forward at 4 million miles an hour. So it would make sense that ancestors would say, hey, knock it off, slow down. And you're probably right about looking more internally, maybe just doing my own healing manifestations, looking inside myself, trying to reset nerves. I have extreme nerve issues now due to the stenosis. So yeah, that makes total sense. So
Yeah, for you're going to want to. There's two colors that want to come through to help you, and it's deep maroon and a deep dark purple. Those are like two
mm,
colors that you can work with
mhm.
over the next 6 to 12 months. Whenever you're in pain, just call those colors in because they'll help you kind of reset and get more into your body. And then, speaking about health, just the general message that I'm getting for your audience is our health is number one priority. It's not how can I make the most money, or how can I be the most successful, or how can I have the best
Wait, what?
relationships.
Yes, it's money. No, I'm just money.
No, but it's if you have your health, all of those other things start to play into factor. And it doesn't matter. I want to say that slightly different too, because someone might be going, but my health is a mess. Like, how am I going to get that in order? And how am I going to be successful if I'm struggling with, and then just fill in the blank of the disease, the disorder, the whatever. And it's not about healing everything. It's about coming to terms and to peace and to acceptance of where you're at in the exact moment that you are at, and having hope and faith that there is something that is going to support you in feeling 1% better. And then that 1% changes into 2%, changes into 10%, changes into 100%. So it just depends on where you're at. And the more that you lean into this idea of standing in your light, standing in your power, standing in your health, the more your mind is going to be able to compute all of the changes that are on the way, because we have massive energetic changes, massive physical changes, massive uh, technology changes that are just coming our way, and our nervous systems need to be prepared for it in a different way. And so taking care of your health and taking care of your health will take care of the mind, which then will take care of the spirit. And all of that kind of plays into one another. And it's
I
not just health, but
I
it's
literally
putting
speak
health first.
I speak those things to my 16-year-old. He, they want to eat junk food and not sleep and stay up all night. And he's
Hmm.
actually a performer, though. He's a trumpet player and he's very obsessed with his music. So I tell him, you got to find that balance, mind, body, and soul. If you want to perform well and you want to get up to go to your performances, have to sacrifice staying up all night eating pizza rolls and watching TV. Mind, body, and soul. You got to find that balance. So, but sometimes when we're adults, we need someone like you to show us, to guide us.
It's I think it's, everything plays into one another. And my daughter, she's 4. She just had her first little dance recital this weekend, and it was so cute.
Oh, that's
And one
sweet.
of her friends has been this would be, like, I think her 3rd dance recital, and or maybe more, but her mom was telling me that the one and only time she ever got anxious to go on stage is because she ate like a bunch of junk and a bunch of sugar the day before. And so the day before, all of them were at like a little birthday party. And so she talked to her about not having the cake and not having the frosting and being more conscious of what she's eating so that she can feel good going on stage.
Right.
And
Um,
so all of it plays
mhm.
into it, especially the processed food. The processed food, if you look down
Mm,
or go down the food rabbit hole, it is causing type 3 diabetes. And the type 3 diabetes and dementia, Alzheimer's, all of that.
it's
And
terrifying.
it's
Mhm.
absolutely terrifying. And but we also have a lot of control over what we put in our bodies. And if we're choosing to be mindful of what we're putting in our bodies and choose health first. There are lots of things that I want to eat, but I choose not to eat
Mhm.
them because they
Right.
don't make me feel good and I have flare ups and
Mhm.
it's not worth
No.
the 10 seconds of pleasure. And you got to starve out those gut bugs that want all that stuff. And once you starve them out, they'll start craving other things. And
Right.
so it's just the finding balance in that too.
Mm.
Everything has balance.
Yeah, I'm diabetic and it's pretty well controlled. I don't eat bread, rice. I stick to a pretty healthy vegetable diet with some meats, but it's hard to stay healthy in this world. Food prices are expensive. Well, you can go to the
It's
dollar
ridiculous.
store and buy 4 bags of pizza rolls for under $5, but you can't get a bag of vegetables for that. And that's where somehow, hopefully, focus shifts in the world because it's lopsided. When you can get the junk food cheaper than you can get the healthy food, of
Yeah.
course, people
Well,
are
it's
gonna
all by
make wrong
design.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all by design, and I
Mhm.
think it's really important to, research and to look for, um, food in local farmers and things like
Mhm.
that
Small
for
farmers, supporting
Yep.
them. Mhm.
And then there's also, if you can do that, look at meal kits that are on sale that allow you to get that because things one thing that scares me is like the 3D meat. Like stuff like that, I don't there's too much, like, but I wanna put things that are healthy in my body, but not everybody can afford the price
Mm-mm.
tags on things, and so you can get creative. Like, you get super creative and
Grow it
growing
at
your own
home. Yeah,
Yes,
grow it at
growing your
home.
own vegetables, growing your own things, bartering, trading, doing all that stuff, I think is very, very helpful, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of that
Mm.
moving forward. But you don't know unless you start doing it, and you don't know unless you start getting creative with what you can do. And um, I mentioned this earlier is one of the things about the records that I love is it's helped me a lot with my own health and getting things under control and getting like especially inflammation in my body under control and my
Mhm.
nerve issues under control. And so if you're being guided to go deeper somewhere, follow that guidance. And if you've been thinking about growing a vegetable garden, grow a vegetable garden. If you've been thinking about contacting someone to help you with something, contact that person because
Mhm.
there's a reason why you're being guided to do that.
Yep, if it's in your thoughts, definitely. It has been so amazing to have you on. You are amazing, and I love your work. I just hope everybody else goes and checks you out. So definitely have to have you come on, maybe do a demonstration for us next time or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely.
That'd be kind of fun. In the meantime, I will have all your links and social medias up on the website, and this will be on YouTube and everywhere else you can find podcasts. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Have a good rest of your day.
Too. Thanks.
Mm,
Bye.
bye.